Hey guys, this will be the final guide to the Stamina Templar damage dealer for PvE. Let's start with the gear. Gear didn't really change a lot. I use 5 pieces Hunting's Rage, 1 piece Molokena, 3 pieces Night Mother's Gaze and 3 Agility. For the enchantments, go Stamina on all of the gear pieces and use divine traits on all of them if possible. I will tell you later why. Then for the jewelry, use 2 robust and 1 healthy trait, because we need 1 healthy trait to get to a decent health level around 18k, otherwise it will be too low. For the enchantments on the jewelry, depends how much CP you have. You can try with 3 weapon damage glyphs. If you don't have enough sustain, swap one out with reduced cost if you want to. We use 2 daggers, both with precise, because we also use the Shadow Mundus Stone and we get quite good increased critical damage. That's why we want to have as much weapon crit as possible. On one of the daggers, use the increased weapon damage glyph, and on the other one the reduced target's armor. Then we have a Wet 14 Master's Bow. We only use this one because of the enchantment. I will tell you later about it more, because we want those 352 weapon damage if you have infused bow. If you don't have infused bow, it will be a little bit lower. Also make sure to have 5 medium, 1 light, 1 heavy to get out the most of the Undaunted passive bonus, which is a 6% increased resources. Then let's move on to the character sheet. As you can see, at the moment I'm almost at 38k stamina, 18k health. I'm using the health and stamina buff food, Wet 15. My weapon crit sits at almost 66%, which is really nice. And if I buff myself with potion, I'm at 4.3k weapon damage. This is really good. At the moment I'm at 550 champion points. If you have less, you will have a little bit less resources than me. On Tamriel Foundry I also have the build, and there I am working with a setup of 300 CP if you want to check it out. I know many people have around 3 to 400 CP at the moment, so it's maybe easier for you guys to see how it works out with 300 CP. Then the Mundus Stone. In this patch we use the Shadow Mundus Stone combined with the divine traits on the armor. It gives us almost 19% increased critical damage. That's a lot. That's why we almost have a 2x multiplier on increased critical damage, depending on how much champion points you have, of course. Okay, that leads us to the champion points. The 2 most important perks are Mighty and Precise Strikes. Make sure to have most of the points in here. You can put a few into Piercing and Thaumaturge, but if you have less CP, just use those 2. Those are really the best at the moment. Then here the most important is Warlord. First off, put 30 points into Mooncalf. We use this not only because of the stamina recovery, but also because of the Synergizer perk. As you can see, if you have 30 points here, that's why we put 30 here, you get 2 ultimate points when you activate the synergy. This is quite nice, it's kind of a small bonus. And then put everything else into Warlord. To the next. Here it's quite try to spread most of your points between Hardy, Elemental Defender and Thick Skinned, and a few points into Quick Recovery. But really, it's not really important. It's nice to have a little bit more mitigation, but in the new dungeons you will take a lot of damage anyway, so 9 or 10% is not really a lot. On Tamriel Foundry you can find a more detailed post how I like divided my CP if you want to. Then let's move on to the skills. Quick Cloak, I mainly use this one in AoE situations because it gives us a 20% damage reduction from enemy AoE. It's quite nice. The damage is not really good, but it's quite a nice small dot. Steel Tornado, this is our main AoE skill. It has a 12.5 meters range. This is huge compared to Magicka user's Impulse, which is like 5 or 6 meters. It's laughable. Also, it's kind of execute Steel Tornado. The less HP your enemy has, the more damage you do. Also, Slaughter passive of Dual Wheel helps. If the enemy has less than 25% HP, you do 20% more damage. So those two combined, it can do a lot of damage in AoE situations. Then Biting Jabs, I mainly use this one for single target, but you also can use it in AoE situations if you prefer this one over Steel Tornado. Just note that the first target always takes 140% more damage than the others. So for single target wise, that's why it's so strong against bosses, etc. You do like 3k non-crits and 5 to 6k crits, it's really nice. Biting Jabs also gives you the major Severity buff, which increases your weapon crit, but we don't really need that because we have Evil Hunter here. As you can see, it also increases the weapon crit permanently. Evil Hunter only activates this skill when you fight Undead or Daedra, because then it actually deals quite a lot of damage and you get a small amount of stamina back. Power of the Light, I mainly use this as single target, because you can see it does a lot of damage, 17.4k, and it's instant cast. It's really nice. Flawless Dawnbreaker, I use this basically only because of the 8% increased weapon damage while it's slotted. You can use it against Undead or Daedra, but I usually prefer the other ultimate. But it deals very nice damage against Undead, so if you have like 96 ulti and the fight is almost over, just pop this one and voila. Then on the second bar, Poison Injection, as I said, we mainly use this one to get the buff from the bow, more weapon damage. It also does very good damage on low health targets. Then Caltrops, it does very nice AoE damage. Sadly only one person can use Caltrops in the group, because it doesn't stack over each other. Also be aware that you aggro all the mobs when you drop this. So make sure maybe to wait a little bit till the tank has aggro on some of the mobs and then pop it. Arrow Barrage, this skill got quite buffed in this patch. Make sure it's a 1.2k damage per 0.5 seconds. That's a lot for every mob, so make sure to keep this one up in AoE trash fights. Then we have Repentance. As you can see, it almost restores 4k health and stamina on one dead corpse. That's a lot. When you're low on stamina in AoE fights, just pop these ones and you will see almost full stamina and health again. You also could put this one on the first bar if you want to, if it feels more comfortable, or if you have a little bit sustain issues, because in the end it gives 10% more stamina recovery. But I prefer to have it on the second bar. So basically when I use this skill I pop another arrow barrage and poison injection, then I swap back and spam steel tornado. Here it doesn't really matter what you use on the 5th slot. You can use blazing shield, you can use vigor, speed buff, whatever. The ulti for single target, Ice Comet, it does the most damage for Templars. 12k initial hit now unbuffed, and it has a really strong dot that goes for 12 seconds. AoE wise, use the prison, solar prison. It does very good damage and it gives a 30% damage reduction, which is really important, for example in the new dungeons. Also the Gravity Crush synergy deals a crazy amount of damage, so if you see a Nova on the ground, get into the middle and activate the synergy, and you will see everything will die left and right of you. It does crazy damage. So AoE wise, I always start off with the cult drops. I drop arrow barrage. If I have my Nova, I drop the Nova, I shoot the poison injection, swap back, and I spam steel tornado till the mobs are dead. If arrow barrage run out, reactivate the arrow barrage again, swap back, steel tornado. That's basically it. For single target, you want to have rending slashes here. Let's say you start the boss fight, you pop your cult drops, arrow barrage, your ulti, you shoot your poison injection, you swap back, rending slashes, power of the light, and then jabs. Just jab, jab, jab. When rending slashes run out, reapply rending slashes, reapply power of the light, jab, jab, jab. When cult drops run out or your ulti is ready again, go to the second bar, reapply arrow barrage, shoot poison injection, go back and jab, and keep up those two buffs here. I tried to swap every 10 seconds back and forth for those two skills, but in the end it's kind of a damage loss, so it is more beneficial if we only stay as much as possible on the first bar. Yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, ask them in the YouTube video below or on Tamriel Foundry. I will put the link below in the video. As I said before, on Tamriel Foundry I have written up everything if you have some information, etc. Also some other gear choices are there listed up. Some gear choices that are harder to get. Yeah. Okay, thanks guys, have fun.